Good morning. You're listening to FloorDaily.net, and I'm Kemp Harr. This morning, my guest is Bonnie Cauthorn, who is a principal with Design Services in Richmond, Virginia. Bonnie, how you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
You just recently attended J&J Flooring Group's Senior Living Symposium that was in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And we'll get to that in just a minute. But why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about who Design Source is in Richmond, Virginia?
We are a interior design firm that specializes in senior living communities of all types, being from skilled through independent, as well as we were honored to be the first interior designer to do the first greenhouse in the Commonwealth of Virginia, which was a really great experience with a super client in the Valley. We have been practicing senior living design for about 15 years, and we truly are very passionate about it. We have a very well-rounded staff in that we do complete turnkey installations, so we have super designers as well as a crackerjack installation team to take care of everything from our clients from the beginning to the end.
Okay. You say you've been doing this about 15 years?
The senior living. I've been practicing interior design for about 36 or so. I kind of lose track.
And what brought you to specialize in senior living?
My personal interest has always been healthcare and hospital design, which I was fortunate to do when I was in Northern Virginia and the D.C. area. And then one of our hospital clients was building the CCRC in Williamsburg, and we were privileged to be awarded that project. And that was right about the time that assisted livings and senior livings were taking off in the United States. And we just got on the bandwagon and really enjoy the work that we do. We have great clients, and so it just sort of was the way it was meant to be.
And also, I mean, if you look at the demographics, it makes sense to be in this business because you've got this large section of population called baby boomers who are aging, right?
That's correct. One turns 50 every 7 seconds.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about this meeting that was held in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, sponsored by J&J Flooring Group. Tell us a little bit about the meeting.
Well, it was just a fabulous experience. It was the first time I've been involved in a national symposium. J&J did an excellent job of selecting key designers from around the country to be brought together. And it was very interesting because from the very first lunch meeting that we had, it was as if we had all known each other for a very long time. There was just such great synergy and respect and bonding for the kind of work that we do. You could just feel the passion and the desire to want to do better and to learn from each other. There was no pretense whatsoever by any of the folks in the group. It was just a fabulous experience in a most wonderful place.
I was just looking at a news story they put out about this, and they had firms from California, Georgia, Iowa, Maryland, Michigan, Minnesota, Ohio, Oregon, and then you from Virginia, right?
That's correct. We were well represented the entire country.
So they had some guest speakers. Talk a little bit about what you learned.
Well, Jane Rohde from Baltimore was there, and I always learn something from Jane. She is truly one of the experts in our field and the most humble interior designer I've ever been privileged to know. She just brought a perspective for the new guidelines that are being issued that she was the editor of, did a great job of sharing stories about seniors that she's known and had the privilege of working with. J&J did a presentation on new products that are forthcoming in the next year. There was also a presentation on asthma and how it relates to carpet and fibers, which was interesting. I think the best part was each of the designers made a short presentation on either a project we'd worked on or a passion in reference to senior living. And just, again, the brainstorming and the learning from one another and trying to understand what happens across the country, even though they're all so very different depending on their demographic. It was just, again, a wonderful experience.
As far as the latest floor covering trends in this senior living interior space, was there anything that you walked away that was interesting?
We are creating homes, not that we want them to be home-like, but we want to help transition seniors in a respectful way to their next journey. We realize that it's very emotional to leave a home that you've probably been in most of your life. As far as floor covering and carpet goes, there's still that trend toward more hospitality-looking products. Everyone in the room wanted them to be more durable, more cost-effective. Really, people are still designing, if you will, from the black and white side of the page. and we are all being very fiscally responsible to our clients and their budget.
So these people that are aging now as they sell their home, what is the trend? Are they moving into these community-type facilities?
I think the trend is just to have the option. They are moving much later in life, most toward their late 80s, meaning they're much more frail. There still is a good interest in CCRCs. And I think the trend is to just be flexible, for providers to be able to answer the what do we do now question with so many people, especially as you mentioned, the boomers coming in such vast numbers and quantities.
Tell people what CCRC stands for.
Continuing Care Retirement Community.
In part of their news release, they talked about 5 trends that were observed at your meeting was hospitable luxury, user-driven design, greenhouse project passion, nature-inspired healing, and greater diversity in flooring selection. One point they were key to make is that carpet tile is continuing to be widely accepted in this type of interior, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and that's a growing trend that I see amongst our clients within the last 2 years, where before we wouldn't even have brought carpet tile to the conversation. Now it's part of every conversation we have, just for their opinion and to weigh the pros and cons of the application for each of the providers.
You said something about an asthma and allergy presentation. I guess you were probably interested to hear that some of the latest studies prove that carpet does not contribute to that, right?
Yes, it was very interesting data to be able to share back when we got home with our clients and my staff. So it was very good information.
As you come back now, having attended this, is there anything you're going to do differently?
I think I came back with a renewed sense of the importance of what we all do. Mm-hmm. I think that we did share some ideas on how to approach different clients, the client in this case being the provider. But again, it was just a great way of sharing information.
Well, thanks for spending time with us. Again, been talking to Bonnie Cauthorn, who's principal with Design Source, an interior design firm that specializes in senior living in Richmond, Virginia. And you've been listening to Kemp Harr and FloorDaily.net.